Welcome to day one of my 2023 stash busting challenge. Today we are going to be making these little cute little soap savers. Now the reason I decided to do little soap savers as part of this challenge is, number one, I know a lot of people use kind of a liquid soap nowadays, but believe it or not, I use both. I still have bar soap and I use liquid soap, and I hate it when the bar soap just sort of melts all over the bathroom and then you have to clean it up, and it's just kind of a mess. So soap savers are an amazing way to go, and I had a bunch of cotton yarn left over from another project, so worked out beautifully. The materials you need to complete this project include about 70 yards of 100% cotton DK weight yarn, a 4.25 millimeter crochet hook, a tapestry needle, a stitch marker, and embroidery scissors. This little soap saver is worked in two pieces. We'll first construct the bag, and then we will construct the drawstring and thread it through the top. To construct the bag, we're going to start by working a flat piece, a flat foundation, which then gets worked into the round all the way throughout the rest of the project. To start, we're going to chain 16. We're going to make a slip knot. Place that on our hook, and then we're going to start our foundation chain. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, okay? Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn our foundation chain over, and we're gonna work into these little back posts on the back. I call this the back post only. And we're going to start in the second chain from the hook. So this is 1 and this is 2. So this is where we're gonna start. And we're going to single crochet. So let's insert our hook into this little back post back here. Yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through here. Okay, so that's our first single crochet, and we're going to do that all the way across to the end. Two, $13, $14, and this is 15. Now we started with 16, but then when we started our first row right here, we started in that second chain from the hook. That means that we lost one. So even though our foundation chain was 16, we now have 15 stitches. Okay, and now what we want to do is we want to mark our place. We're going to mark this final 15th stitch right here with a stitch marker. Okay. Now what we're going to do is a little untraditional. Okay, usually we would work in rows, we would chain, and then we'd go back, we'd flip our work, and we'd start working this direction. But what I want to do is I want to kind of make this so that we start working in the round. So what we're going to do is we are going to actually flip it this direction. So this is our foundation chain on the bottom here. This is row 1. This is our foundation chain. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work along the bottom of the foundation chain. So we're going to come around like this, and then we're going to wrap around over here and start working this way. And we're going to just continue working like this. And that is how we're going to build this sort of like tubular bag, okay? So this is the bottom that we're working on. We're working on the solid bottom here. And as we work this way, it's gonna build up like this. And we're eventually gonna have a little bag, okay? All right. Now what you'll notice is this is our slip knot right here, and this is kind of our tail. And what I like to do is I actually like to crochet over it. So if you know how to do that, go ahead and do that. If you don't, just place it to the side and just kind of cross over it, just ignore it, just kind of work over into the next stitch, this very first stitch right here. Okay, just sort of work right over that knot, and then you can leave this. You can leave this tail and weave it in later. Otherwise, I'm gonna go ahead and just, I'm just gonna go ahead and crochet over it just to kind of, I don't like having to weave in ends if I can avoid it. Okay, so I'm gonna start right here. All right, and I'm going to single crochet, and I'm going to go into the next stitch, which is right here. This can be a little tricky because the foundation chain along the bottom can get very tight. Okay. Now I do think that this is generally the hardest part of this project. So if you can make it through this, you can definitely do the rest of it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we've made it all the way down here, and we're just gonna keep turning and keep going this direction here. And now what we want in the end, okay, now remember we had 15 stitches this way when we started. So actually this is row 1 right here, okay? So we had 15 stitches, but we're also working along the back of the foundation chain, which is also 15 stitches. So when we're done, we should have 30 stitches, okay? So we have 15 here, 15 here, that makes 30. Okay, so now we're at the end of, okay, so now here we are at the end here. We've done 15 stitches. And what we want to do is we want to start working around, going back around this direction. So, okay, so this right here, we're just going to skip over this edge right here. We're just going to literally skip right over it and go right into the very first stitch, which is right here. And we're just going to keep going. So what we're doing is we're continuously crocheting without turning or chaining, okay? So let me just, now at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and just leave that little tag out of the way, this little end, and I'm just gonna snip it later. It's been very nicely secured along this edge here, so I'm just gonna snip it later. All right, so we're gonna continue with our single crochets, turning our work, just to keep it in the round, okay? We're not turning in an opposite direction. There we go. And now we're back onto that first row, so it's going to be a lot easier here. Now we are just here, about to the very beginning. Okay, we're back to our tagged. Right here we have our marker in this stitch here. So we know that this was the very last stitch worked of round 1. That's the whole point of doing that. So that way we make sure that we keep our stitch count accurate. Remember, we do want 30 stitches, 15 on each side. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and work into this stitch here with the stitch marker. And I'm going to replace the stitch marker. The only point for this stitch marker at this right here is that it just makes sure that we keep our stitch count accurate so we know where we're starting and where we're ending, okay? And I'm just gonna keep repeating that. So now I'm gonna go into the next stitch here and single crochet again. Okay, and into the next one. And I'm just going to keep repeating that all the way around. It's literally single crochet in each stitch all the way around. When you get back to your stitch marker, remove your stitch marker, place your stitch, put your stitch marker back just to keep track of your stitch count. Okay. Okay, and we're going to do that 2 more times. So we're on our second round and we're going to do a third round, okay? And then we're going to switch it up. Okay, so I am back to the stitch marker and I'm going to go ahead and remove it. Okay, so that was rounds 1 through 3, and what you can see here is that the bottom of our bag is forming. We have our little ends that have curled up, okay, and this is where the bottom of the soap will sit. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start this sort of mesh-like part of the bag. All right, we are going to continue crocheting continuously. That means we are not going to be turning, or we're not going to be doing any sort of turning chains either. We may chain, but we won't be doing any turning chains. Okay, we are going to chain 4 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This chain 4 counts as a double crochet and a chain 1. We want to skip the next single crochet and we're going to double crochet into the next stitch. So I yarned over, I'm going to insert my hook, I'm going to yarn over again, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then I'm going to chain 1. All right, and I'm going to repeat that all the way around, okay? I'm going to skip the next single crochet and I'm going to double crochet into the next stitch right here. And I'm going to chain 1. Skip the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch here, and then chain 1, okay? So let's do that all the way around. All right, so let's remove our stitch marker. And what we're going to do is we are going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of our original chain 4, that's this right here, to close, okay? So we're gonna go 1, 2, and 3. That leaves 1 chain right here for our chain 1 space. Just slip stitch to close that up, okay? And now we're gonna again continue crocheting continuously. And we're gonna work 2 single crochets into each chain 1 space. So we're gonna start with the one here, and then we're gonna work 2 single crochets in every chain 1 space all the way around, okay? So we're just gonna insert my hook right here into this chain 1 space, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets into the next chain 1 space, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, okay? Next chain 1 space, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, okay? So let's go ahead, do that all the way around. Okay, and looks like we have just the one left. And here's 1, and here's 2. And I want you to go ahead and I want you to mark your very last stitch right here with your stitch marker. Okay, and what you're gonna do is you're just gonna continue working. You're gonna start doing single crochets into each single crochet all the way around, okay? So again, we're not making any slip stitches, we're not making any turning chains, we're not turning our work, we're just gonna continue crocheting into the very next stitch right here, making a single crochet. And what is really important here is that with this stitch marker, you should be keeping your stitch count accurate. You need to stay at 30 stitches. Okay, and here we are. We're all the way back around to our stitch marker. Let's remove it. Work our last stitch of this round into the stitch that had the stitch marker, okay? I'm just going to replace this. This is just a place keeper. It's not anything other than that, okay? Again, continuing to crochet continuously, I'm going to slip stitch into this next stitch right here. And then I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This does count as a double crochet and a chain 1. I'm going to skip the next stitch and I'm going to double crochet into the next stitch here and chain 1. Okay, we're going to skip the next stitch here and double crochet into the next stitch and chain 1. Now I'm going to stop just for a second because I want you to see the way that I'm setting this up is so that your double crochets should be right on top of each other, okay? So this is the one from below, the one here, and you have your skipped chain in the middle, okay? So all the way around, skip your next stitch, double crochet into the next single crochet, chain 1, okay? And just like we did previously, we're going to repeat that all the way around. And essentially, these are your repeat rounds throughout most of the rest of the project, okay? It's this mesh round, and then the round with the 2 single crochets, and then the round with a single crochet in each stitch all the way around. It's those 3 that get repeated up to the top, okay, all the way up to the top of your bag. All right. I'm going to remove our stitch marker. And we are going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain at the top from this chain 4. So it's 1, 2, 3. Leaving a chain 1 space right here. All right, and now we're at the point. I'm going to go ahead and just mark this one here just to keep our place. And like I said, now we are at the point now where we are starting to repeat those 3 rounds, okay? So the next round is the 2 single crochets into each chain 1 space. The next round will be the round of single crochets into each stitch, and then the next round will be this mesh round, okay? You're going to repeat that. At this point, it's going to go 3 more times. So each of those 3 rounds, 3 more times, okay? So let's go ahead and we'll do that. Okay, So here we are, and I just want to clarify, if you're looking at the written instructions, the 3 repeat rounds actually start with round 5, which would be the round that's coming up here next, where, see, I've ended off on the mesh round. So round 5 is the one where you put the 2 single crochets into each chain 1 space. Round 6 is the single crochet round, and then round 7 is this mesh round. So those 3 repeat rounds would actually end you on round 7, which here is right here is the repeat round. So I just want to make sure that that is clear to everybody. When you end, you should end with the mesh round right here. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to repeat rounds 6, or we're going to repeat rounds 5 and 6 one more time. So we're going to repeat that 2 single crochets into each chain 1 space, and then the 1 round of the single crochets just one more time here at the end. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, here we are back at the end here. I'm going to just take out the stitch marker, make my last single crochet, and then to close this round, this final round, we're just going to make a slip stitch into the next stitch. Okay. Okay, so at this point, we want to go ahead and bind off. So I'm going to snip this and weave in your ends. I'm just going to leave mine for now just to kind of get through the video. I like to sometimes, if I can, I just wait till everything's done. So you can either weave in here or just leave it as is for now, and go ahead and start on the drawstring. Okay, so to start our drawstring, we want to chain 76. So we'll start with a slip knot. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll just keep going like that till we reach 76. $73, $74, $75, and $76. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to turn our foundation chain over, and we are going to work a single crochet into the second chain from the hook. So this is 1 and this is 2. I like to go into the back post only, so that's what I would like you to do for this one here. So 1 and 2 into this stitch right here. Okay, and then you're going to do a single crochet into the back post only of every stitch. Okay, we're going to do that all the way down, and when you finish you will have 75 stitches because we started in that second chain from the hook, so we lose 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that, and we'll come back when we're finished down here at the bottom. Okay, so here I am at the end here. All right, oops. Okay, now all we're gonna do is we are going to bind off. We're going to weave in our ends, and then I'm going to show you how to interlace it into these little holes here at the top to complete the bag. Okay, so now let's weave in our drawstring. Okay, if you ever have any trouble doing this, I would recommend placing a safety pin here at the end of your drawstring. That just gives you something to hold on to and helps kind of guide you as you go ahead and do this. Okay, so I'm just going to start by pushing the drawstring into the bag through just one of the holes. I like to do it at the sides. You can kind of start anywhere you'd like. And what you're going to do is you're going to wrap it around the back side of this double crochet and pull it through the next hole, and then you're going to push it over the next double crochet through the hole towards the inside of the bag, come back out. You're literally just weaving it all the way around. Okay, so that's what we're going to do all the way around the bag. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and what you're going to do is it's going to come back out on the other side, and you should have it come out into the same hole as the other end of your drawstring will be. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get that done, and then we'll come back and we'll tie our little knots at the end of our drawstring to close this up. Okay, so we are kind of towards the end here. I'm gonna do my last push through to the center of the bag, and then I'm gonna come back around this last post, okay, so that my two ends have come out the same hole here. All right, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take these ends and I'm just gonna tie a little knot down at the ends here. There's one, and here's another one. All right, and there is our little soap saver bag. Let's go ahead and place a bar in it and see how this looks. All right, here we go. There we go, and then you just cinch it up. And there we have it. If you enjoyed this little soap saver tutorial, please be sure to come back for the next pattern in our stash busting challenge. See you then.